Welcome to a Monday edition of the Morning Event Show. As we do each and every Monday, we're delighted to welcome Dr. Anita Wang. Dr. Anita Wang and our wellness segment. She has an office here in Laguna Beach. We're fortunate to have her over on Dahlia. We'll talk about that. She'll answer your questions as well. I pulled up 5 random questions of quite literally dozens that we get. I can't believe how popular you are among these people. Yeah. I pulled a random 5 up, and she'll be answering those questions for you. And we welcome, as we do each and every Monday, Dr. Anita Wang. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Great. It's good to be here. Sunny.
It's a beautiful day now. You were chilly earlier. There's something going on with the heat at your office?
Yeah, no heat in my office, so I've got a lot of layers on today. But yeah, it's nice. It's nice out here with the sun.
It's great to have you here, and thank you. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was different, like I said.
We did the Seattle trip.
We did the Seattle trip. It was really different for us, going out into a restaurant and eating there. It was, we ate at noon. That was the only reservation I could get was at noon, but it actually worked out great. And then came home, and Saturday we had our Thanksgiving. And my husband was like, "So what are other people doing for Thanksgiving?" I said, "Today's Saturday. They already had theirs."
They're eating leftovers right now and watching college football.
And when I went to the store, I didn't think about it. I should have prepped beforehand because they were out of everything. So there was no cranberries. So we didn't have cranberries, but I saw Justin there at Whole Foods, and he actually said that I was the second person that he heard of that was doing their Thanksgiving that day.
Oh.
So we had a fabulous, and then we had, Thanksgiving on Thursday.
Well, so you had a protein, you made a turkey?
We had turkey.
Okay.
We had a turkey that I do this thing, so I usually get that brining bag from Whole Foods, but now I found out that Ace Hardware had them. I didn't know, but
wow.
I made my own brined it the night before, and then I inject it. And I usually make my own teriyaki sauce, but I bought one, so I made a little. So I inject it with teriyaki, and I bake it standing upright so that it gets a little moisture. So so we had a really nice turkey, and then my son wanted scalloped potatoes, and I made the sweet potatoes, but candied, and we had green beans and asparagus and stuffing, and we had that.
I took your advice on potatoes, and I let them cool, and then I reheated them again, and I just felt healthier.
Yeah, I made them the day before so that I knew that even though they were having starches, it was a fiber. So I made them the night before and warmed them up that day.
So when you inject the turkey, do you use a medical syringe or do you use one of these?
There's actually, I don't know if mine actually, the rubber stopper thing broke, so I'm gonna have to get a new one. But it's actually, I think it's designed for that. It's a turkey baster syringe. It is a huge syringe. I put it between the skin, inject the meat sometimes, put it between the skin, and I inject that, yeah.
I would love for you to scare a patient one day and use that and say, hey, you know what, we got to give you a shot.
I usually do that. I actually take the big 18 gauge, which is the larger needle, for the bottle, and then they're all like, I go, it's for the bottle. This little 30 gauge is for you.
Oh, that's so sweet of you. Very good. So yeah, we did I got the vegan turkey roll for Anne Marie, and then pulled out the stuffing that it comes with, and I stuffed it with some vegan, and it is all, their stuffing was vegan too, I just didn't, I wasn't impressed. So I made my own stuffing, stuffed that with it. I made a rack of lamb for me, and I sent you the picture of the vegan butter that you
I was
shunned
impressed.
me. Okay, you shunned
Well, because I assumed it was all chemicals, processed stuff, but it had cashew, so that was good, because cashew does make a nice, cheese and butter I know now.
Yeah, we were rolling. Well, glad to have you here. You're working on a client, a 42-year-old woman who came in with concerns about gaining weight.
Oh. Well,
lay that out.
Well, I was thinking after Thanksgiving, people are probably concerned. They gained a little weight, what to do, how to manage that, and we're coming up to the next holiday. And I've been working with this woman. That was her main concern, but she's a high-powered executive, and looking at her. And the amazing thing is this woman who is so well accomplished and is at the height, and people looking outside in would think, oh, she's got everything. But she didn't have confidence now. Because
of the weight gain.
she's stressed, because she didn't look the way she wanted to look,
Right.
all of these things. So the first thing I needed to work on really was building her confidence back up, finding who she was, because she was thinking this job is beating her down, she needs to go maybe get another job.
Right.
But I said, well, if you did, you're going to be in the same situation because you don't know who you are, right? And now you're going to get yourself lost at that job.
Beautiful say.
So I said, and you've got this job dialed in.
Right.
You're at the top.
Right.
But your standards are so far above everybody else.
So looking for a new job would have complicated matters for her confidence, because not only are you're in unfamiliar surroundings.
Right, and then you just want to throw yourself into that
Right.
and just like forget about yourself. I said, let's just manage this job that you've already got dialed in that you could do in your sleep,
Right.
and let's take care of the stress, because she wasn't sleeping well, which is going to raise her cortisols, her insulin and glucose were elevated, so that's going to be an issue. So we're not going to be able to lose weight with all of this. So we needed, and then she was concerned about her appearance, about these 11s, and just all these things. So I just
I'm
used
sorry, these 11s?
the 11, when you frown and you get those little 11s above.
Right. Oh, those are good 11s.
The 11s,
Thank
yeah.
you.
So happy to report we don't use anything. I've used the Exless and they're away. So now she can make a face and they don't stay, and she's really happy with that. But so once we got her sleep better, because she had adrenal fatigue when she did these high-powered exercises. She'd worked out and did this macro thing with the trainer, got lean, but still had a little belly, and they were saying, like, how come you look lean and everything, but your belly's still there, right? It's just because she's keeping on with the stress and the cortisol, the internal bad belly fat. So that was unhealthy. But as soon as she stopped that, the weight came back on. It wasn't something that she could maintain doing that. So now she was feeling even worse, because she's like, I need to do something else, right? And all of this stuff was going on. Then some personal issues going on too, with family, loss of members in the family. So anyway, getting her off, having her doing high-powered workouts were not going to be good for the adrenals. Like I said, she wasn't escaping the panther, and the panther was chasing her at exercise. And so the brain was like going, I'm stressed, what do we do? So we needed to calm that down, because after she would work out, she'd have to take a nap. She couldn't function, right? Because she was so exhausted.
Right. So suffering from fatigue. Anyway.
Right. And now it's even worse. So we dialed it back, reduced the stress, got the sleeping, and then the hormones were all over the place. Adjusted the hormones.
Does that affect the menstrual cycle?
Yeah. Her cycles were fairly regular. Well, they were coming intermittent, because she's probably in that perimenopause, so not quite consistent. But there was some adjustment in adjusting the hormones, because basically weight is going to be some of your vitamin D level, your sex hormones, your cortisol, so a lot of hormonal, thyroid issues, all of those, and wanted those to be in balance. So we needed to balance all of those out. And all of those were affected by stress, right? And the melatonin, all of that. So just balancing all of that. And then I used the M-Sculpt to help boost her metabolism. So we use that to boost up her metabolism, get her muscle, get a little bit more muscle set, so that just by sitting, you were losing weight because you have more muscles. So doing that, a little bit of that.
How often was she on the M-Sculpt, or how often before you noticed the difference?
Oh, well, we did the usual, which was twice a week for 2 weeks, for a session of those. And then probably about once a quarter or so for that. And I mean, her core is amazing. You know that my test of strength, where you actually can sit down on the she does it better than I do, so now she's my measure. So she, you can sit on the ground without your hands and get up without your hands.
Okay.
She's good.
Yeah.
So she's got the strength, she's got the muscles. So now we just maintain it, and just like we maintain the skin, we do it, once a quarter to maintain that, so she doesn't make the wrinkles anymore.
So you mentioned that she's 42 years old. Is there a point where people, and I've heard this, I've heard other people say this, that, well, I'm in my 40s, I'm obviously going to be gaining weight here. That's not an obvious thing. It's not just a natural given.
No, no, not at all. I mean, you know, you've seen those body types, right? There's ectomorph, endomorph, the thyroidals. There's all these different body types, and you've got the skinny minis who's been skinny mini all their life, right? And they never seem to get heavy, or they actually get a little heavier, but they still look skinny, right? But they got belly fat, so that's not good, right? But it's not a given. So balancing out. So when your estrogen starts to go down, the reproductive portion of that, you're going to go. Your adrenals start to kick in. Well, her adrenals couldn't kick in because they're fatigued. So they couldn't do what they needed to do was maintain, because there's other functions than reproductive. Cognition, right, cardiovascular, a whole host of things that estrogen does besides just for reproductive. Once you lose a reproductive, the adrenals need to be able to produce the rest that you need. So you'll hear people say, oh yeah, I went through menopause, I didn't have a problem. They didn't have stress, their adrenals were fine, they kicked in, they went over, and they're still producing what they need to do all the other functions. The others who are wiped out and having all these symptoms and not feeling well, their adrenals just couldn't kick in, right? So her adrenals were already fatiguing out, and she was going through that perimenopause, so we need to adjust that. So,
what role did genetics play in diagnosing her?
So genetics, well, you know, to be truthful with her, I mean, I did some basic genetics. She wanted to do it a little bit backwards. She wanted to do work on the cellular function and get to that, and then now we're going to do genetics and get the blueprint. But we have some of it. So I did a little bit of methylation. I did a little bit of the APOE, which is cardiovascular, cholesterol, and Alzheimer's, and then we did detoxification. So, and then she's going to do the full health one now, because of, you know, budget-wise. There's just no right way to wrong way to do it, but she was really focused on, you know, the other first, and just getting to the cellular, fixing the cellular functions first.
And once you, okay, and I'm going to stay on her for a second here. Once you have her in a regimen that seems to be getting her pointed in the right direction, do you find sometimes, and maybe not her in particular, but other people will see just the physical look, and they're not really healthy, but they look a little healthier, that they'll stop, they'll quit, they'll go back to snacking or all kinds of stuff like that, bad behaviors?
Yeah, oh yeah. I had a gentleman who, you know, we worked on, and it took us, so he came in because he was upset that his doctor had watched his glucose for 10 years. It went from 90 to now 120. And he said, and he still told me just to come back next year and just let's, you know, watch and see what happens. And he says, how far are we going to watch my sugars going up? It's now 120. And I said, because not till it's 125 is it a disease. Then they're going to give you medication and treat you. He says, well, I'm going to do something before that. Right? So in, I think 3-4 months, we fixed it and his sugars are back down. Right? So we worked on, you know, his gut was the main thing, and had to change his diet and fix it. Well, now that he was back down and it was 165 and everything golden, he went back to his old habits. And 3-4 months, he was feeling miserable again. So then he came back, and then the whole time and then he said, okay, so then we had to work on it, but it took us maybe 6 months. It took us even longer. So then he realized,
from square one again.
Right, and it was more difficult. So then he realized he couldn't let go. But for him, he had to experience that and understand that. So he knows now that he can be there, but now he knows what he needs to do. He is influenced by his friends, his family, whatever, and then he would go off the rails. So now we've gotten him back. It took us a much longer time. You know, I keep him, we monitor him and keeping him on the good habits. So it's a lot of, because those neural fibers and those tracks that you make, the old habits are there. They never go away, unfortunately. And you
consciously fight those old habits.
Right, and you have to make a decision. And when you select the new one over the old one, sometimes you're going to fall back, and then you'll go back to the old one. You said that wasn't as great as I remember it. You go back to your new one, right? And when the newer one, the body anticipated and feels better, then you're just going to keep up with that. So that's where he is now. So it took us 2 rounds to get him there to maintain, but some people don't know. This woman had gone through 3 different trainers, 3 different weight loss, and finally said, I can't keep doing this. I need something different. And so
that's where you come in.
And so what I've done is kind of like Noom, right? I've been doing Noom before Noom was Noom, right? So I helped her with the mindset, had to rethink it. What are the habits? What are the adjustments? What do you need? Every now and then she's going to need help, and I'll check. I meet with her once a week right now, because she's setting. We have a goal, and then she's making her goal, but she's doing it all. And maybe I'm helping her to tweak it. So I'll say like, so what's your plan when you have this big event? How are you going to eat? What do you do? So it's helping people to adjust and learn how to rethink it. And she's going to be able to take that knowledge and use it forever. And then I'll be there to help her, coach her along if she needs, but then she's going to come in for her M-Sculpt sometimes. She's going to come in for the X-List. She's going to come in for the monitoring of the cellular function of the mitochondrion to see how well we're doing on that. We've had to compound her supplements. She would buy supplements from every different company. It's like a whole host everywhere. Now we're just like whittling it down to what she really needs, what's really beneficial. So it's constant tweaking and monitoring.
Can people really take too many supplements? Is it unhealthy to take too many supplements?
Oh yeah, you can overdo supplements. Yeah. So if you have, I can't think specifically.
Your body just doesn't normally say, okay, we've reached the limit on this. Boom, we're going to pee it out. Whatever. No.
No, I mean the water soluble. Yes, that's true. Those you will pee out. So my mom always freaks out because I give her there's B12 in almost everything. So she's getting a little extra B12, and so her numbers are just astronomical. But yeah, and there is some toxicity with that when you get it way too much. But you're going to pee most of that out, and then if you're not taking it all the time. So I always tell her, just don't take those supplements right before you get your blood drawn. Then they're going to be lower because it's just high because you took those supplements right before you took the testing. So water soluble, you're pretty safe, but the fat soluble ones are the ones where you can get in danger. So like vitamin D is one, right? So vitamin E, so any of those. Vitamin A could be one, but it's pretty high dosages, and a lot of it we are deficient in a lot of these things or not getting optimal. But it's best to get them tested.
You also shifted her diet to include a lot more monounsaturated fats.
Oh, I think because in her, we did test that, and she did have issues on saturated fats. So that was one of the genetic findings. So we had to change the type of fats that she had because she didn't do well with those. So she also had some gluten issues, so we did some food testing. So I always say, my old adage, I'm from Missouri, the show me state, right? So they'll say like, well, what should I eat? I'm like, I don't know, let's just test. Because so there's so many tests. There's the GAP test, there's the FODMAP test, there's the paleo. There's so many different types of diets. And which the best one? And the best one is just if I just test it and find the inflammation. So instead of allergies, it's different. That's the immune system. This is when your white blood cells, when your cells react and cause inflammation. So the interesting thing with her is that, so she's trying to be calm and serene, and her skin would flare up, and she was using aloe vera and using cucumbers and putting cucumbers in the face and having a mist of aloe vera and doing all this calming stuff. And her food inflammation showed cucumbers was one thing. So all that good stuff. And so she's like, I don't know why my face is just always so red. I'm like, yeah, now we know because the cucumbers is not good for you. It's causing inflammation. So it's not an allergic reaction, but it was causing an inflammatory reaction.
So some people utilize cucumbers and put them on their eyes for bags on the eyes.
Right,
Is
right.
Does that work for some people and not for others?
Well, if it's creating an inflammation, it's going to not work, right?
Okay.
Right.
But
So-
cucumbers themselves aren't inflammatory.
No, they're
Okay.
not. But your body at some point can be, certain things can cause inflammation, even healthy things. I had a gentleman who had come in for his liver enzymes were high, and again the doctor told him, let's check it in 6 months. He's like, I don't want to wait 6 months because whatever I'm doing is not working, so why would I wait 6 months? And then so we cleaned out his liver, cleared it out. 4 months went back, everything was normal, but I had tested him with his food, and almonds and zucchinis were causing inflammation in him. So we took those out and cleared things out, and then he got better. So you don't know what's causing inflammation, and sometimes healthy food could be causing some inflammatory reactions just because of what's going in your body. It's not a static thing. It changes. So at that time. So you can retest and see. But
And you mentioned saturated fats, and before the Thanksgiving holiday, you and I had a conversation about butter. A lot of saturated fat in regular butter, regular dairy
yeah,
butter.
there is, but we need a little.
Right.
And I mean, I use saturated fats. I use the ghee, but because as I said, not enough people get butyrate. I actually take butyrate, just I think you can't get enough of it, and short chain fatty acid and medium chain fatty acids, and the butter actually has the medium chain. Short chain fatty acid is better, but medium is good. The long one is not good. So the medium, so the way you get these short chain fatty acids and butyrate is by eating vegetables and feeding and fibers. So it's the cooled and cooked potatoes that you had for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
That's resistant fiber, and that fed the bacteria that then makes short chain fatty acids. That is healthy for you.
Better gut production.
Gut
better
production, right.
Yeah, I'm learning.
Yes.
Week to week. Eventually I'll be ready to take a test of some kind here. Mitochondrial testing. Compounded supplements reduce oxidative stress.
Yeah.
Explain that to me.
Well, I say the fountain of youth is the mitochondria. So it's the way your mitochondria is functioning, because that's the powerhouse. It's what fuels every system in our body, because that little guy is making your immune system hum, the way your brain's working, your heart, you're using your muscles. So, because it's producing all the energy. And the cofactors in the mitochondrion are your antioxidants, which is your vitamin A, vitamin C, your vitamin E, all and the antioxidants that you have in your body, and then all the B vitamins that people don't get enough of, and minerals and omega-3. So some of these things all power the mitochondria. So if you don't have enough of it, they don't work as efficiently, right? And as we age, our nutrition goes down, our volume, our enzymes, our digestion, all of these things start to dwindle. So you need to monitor it, just like having a nice Bugatti. You're gonna make it running, humming, and tuning. You're not gonna put crappy fuel in it.
Right.
You're gonna make everything clean and making sure that it's just running right. You're gonna be like the Formula One, where they're checking how many layers of tires and threads on there. They put new tires on it so it turns right and all that stuff. That's what this mitochondrion is. So if you're not tuning it and keeping it tuned up, you're just not going to function as well.
Beautiful analogy. Just beautiful. Now I think we all got it with Bugatti. I mean, we all got it. We know. And I'm thinking of, okay, well, we got a good team working with us, moving the tires and doing all that.
Right.
So thank you.
Yes. So you got to do all that. And so then that's when I get all that information from that I'll get a whole list, from the vitamin A, C, E, to your B vitamins, all your zinc, all of that. I'll get a list of that, and then I'll just compound and make your supplement with the diet and the way you're eating. Now, some people take that and are already taking a supplement. I said, well, you have to take that supplement and your diet, because with that, you are still needing more. And then I compound it and then you take those supplements that supplement the way you eat, then the way you live. And then that reduces your oxidative stress that slows and retards aging. It's all about living longer and vital and fit.
Beautifully explained. So in case our listeners are wondering how this turned out with this 42-year-old woman, within 4 months she lost 12 pounds, noticeable reduction in the belly fat, her energy levels improved, her menstrual cycle became regular, and then by understanding her genetic predispositions and creating that personalized plan, she's now developed sustainable habits that she's continued. And how often does she need to check back with you?
So we check in. She's another goal. So right now she's doing weekly,
Okay.
but once a quarter at least. Everyone's different. So I usually interview people and ask them, like, do you want to check in monthly? Do you need to check in quarterly? But annually, you're going to need the mitochondrial checks, and then depends on if we're tweaking that. Then I retest it in between 3-4 months and 6 months, between 3 and 6 months if we're making adjustments. So it just depends on how much, maintaining.
And she's noticeably less stressed.
Oh, she's a new person. I have to say that because her bar was so high, and she was like on top of things. I am not the kind of person that will tell you, but I told her like, okay, don't answer them for 3 weeks. Whatever. So she was like, or 4 months. So she put off whatever it was that they're supposed to do for a couple of months.
Some deadline.
Just kept putting it
$2
off.
billion or something.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Just kept putting it off, and finally she answered them, and they were like, "Oh, thank you. It's so wonderful." She thought she was going to be in trouble, but they were like so ecstatic because the other people were like far worse than her. She was like, gets back to them, and they kept always saying, "You don't need to be so perfect," because she was like so perfect on everything.
Right.
So when she became more average, and she's less stressed and she's doing well, it's like, yeah.
All right. It's like being able to juggle 3 balls. Well, you shouldn't stress yourself out if you can't juggle 6. Right? Yeah. You ready to get
Sure.
to some questions? All right. So a 50-year-old male writes in and says that his mouth gets very dry, but only when he's sleeping, not ever when he's awake. Why is that?
Well, because he's most likely a mouth breather when he's sleeping. Okay. So that's typically what happens. Your mouth, you lose your muscle functions and your mouth falls.
Okay.
So I actually tape my mouth when I sleep because that will happen.
Okay.
And it's better to, have humidified and having the air filtered going through your nose and deep breathing. So if they have special tapes for it, but you can just find any old, tape the mouth and tape it, and it's going to solve that problem.
Now, when I first read the question, I thought to myself, well, this person must drink before bed. If you drink a lot of alcohol before bed, does that also do that?
Yeah, definitely. Anything else can, if you're dehydrating.
Right.
If you're dehydrated is one thing. But
Right.
the first thing I thought of was that he was probably a mouth breather. His mouth was open.
I find mouth breathers really funny. I do. When I see them, I'm like, I is a mouth breather. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got a female, 25, almost 4 months pregnant. When should I start to feel my baby move?
Well, if it's your first pregnancy, typically people don't really know what they're looking for or feeling, because it's just like a flutter or a little quickening. It could be as early as 12 weeks, but that's not common. Most people, I think it's between 16 and 20 weeks that they start to feel these little flutters and movements. Some people, really don't feel that initially. I had twin boys. I actually never felt them because they were retro in the back, and depending where the placenta is and the placement and things, so you may not feel as much. I didn't feel any movement. The only time I felt the movement was when my husband, I got him like a Porsche for his milestone birthday, and I was pregnant at the time, and he took the curve, and I felt it move. And so one of them turned, unfortunately breached, so we had a C-section. But But yeah.
Does it get annoying when people come up and go, want to feel your belly when you're pregnant? Is there nothing more annoying than that?
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your space. Like, oh.
Yeah, it's like, oh, let me feel it. No, get away from me. I see the things that you deal with that I don't have to. A 36-year-old male has 2 broken ribs and wonders typically how long for those ribs to heal. Should I wear a brace even to bed? And are there breathing exercises I need to do to help with pain?
Well, ribs, I don't know, about a month to 2 months, so about 6 weeks, something like that, should heal if you don't re-injure it. I always say that if it's excruciating pain and you did something, you might have had a re-injury and displaced them, but they usually should heal, within 2 months or so. Depending on, if it's not displaced or wherever it is, they ideally, and there's a lot of nerve endings in that area because it's vital organs. You've got the lungs and the heart, so the rib cage has extra nerve endings in that area, so it's extremely uncomfortable, very painful. So breathing is going to be hard, so you're going to be splinting, meaning that if it's on your left side, you kind of hold that side and you don't open up, and so the right side's opening, but this left side's not opening as much, and all of a sudden you're going to have to cough or do something, and that's going to hurt, right? So you want to kind of support it and brace it and then do that cough. Or if you're going to get up and move, you want to support it and brace it and get up and move. Or when you're laying in bed, it's hard, you're going to want to put a rail so that you can use the right side to pull yourself up because you can't use the left side. Deep breathing every now and then would be good because your lung is not opening up, and that's why you're going to have to cough, yawn, whatever, to open that, because you don't want to have atelectasis, which is, the collapsing of part of the lungs, so you want it to open up. When the lung collapses, then that accumulates mucus and stuff in there and junk, and you can get an infection. So deep breathing. So you don't really want to bind the chest up. When you do that bind and the rib, all that band all around, now you've constricted the whole lungs. You can't take the deep breath, and you can't expand it, and you're already splinting, and you're splinting one side. So you're breathing with one lung, expanding it, you're not expanding the other side. And every now and then the body's going to naturally make you expand it by making you cough or something. So you want to just breathe, use your diaphragm, try to breathe as much as possible. Sometimes, I don't know, my sons really love KT tape. I don't know much about them, but
Right.
I would suspect KT tape wouldn't be bad because it can support, it's only on one side. So I could see that might help a little bit. It's just a one-sided thing, and you still can expand and still use that. It's the same thing as I telling you to put your arm and your hand or pillow there to brace yourself up. And so I think KT tape on that side would help.
And it doesn't bother you.
Yeah, it's not constricting the whole expansion of the
Thank you. That's beautifully described. Thank you. A 44-year-old male who has acid reflux asks the question, what is GERD and what foods should he immediately cut out?
Well, GERD is gastroesophageal acid reflux. So it's indigestion, right? So you have a valve from the stomach to the esophagus, and the valve protects the esophagus, which doesn't have that tough lining. So when you burp, belch, whatever, overeat, and that valve gets weaker, and as we age it gets a little weaker, or you lay down and you got a full stomach and you lay down and the valve opens up a little. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to overeat, you don't want to lay down, you don't want to eat a huge meal, you want to eat small frequent meals. Maybe your valve is weak and it's letting stuff regurgitate back up, and that's damaging to the esophagus, which can cause cancer, can cause strictures, can create a whole host of problems. So you don't want that. If you have a structural issue where
You can also choke, I'm guessing, right?
yeah, it's gonna
Right.
come up, but and especially when you're sleeping, right?
Right.
But when you have hiatal hernia, some people have that, because the weakness of the diaphragm, and then that just reflux up. So you don't want to be overweight, you don't want to overeat, a lot of processed foods, all of this because of the enzymes. So you want to do the 4 pillars, right? So you want to have not processed foods. Spicy foods can create a problem, but really it's the processed alcohol is something that can also create a problem. But if you're eating whole, natural foods, less of a problem, and making sure you have enough digestive enzymes, because it is an oxymoron, because that indigestion, GERD, acid reflux, they give you the PPIs, the things that is an acid blocker, but actually the problem is that you don't have enough enzymes and enough acid, and you need more. So it's not that you want to block the acid, right? You want to fix all the other issues, and you want to have more digestive enzymes, so be able to digest the food. But if you've got too much food and it's spilling over into the esophagus, and the acid in the stomach is not enough to digest the food, but it's enough to damage the esophagus, right? So you really want more acid to digest all that food. So eat smaller, frequent meals, break it up, takes that. I mean, and I love the best fix that I like when somebody has heartburn is squeeze a lemon in the water and chug that down.
Okay, really?
And it's miraculous how that pain goes away. Right, because it stimulates the pancreas to produce more acid, more enzymes in there to digest the food, and
almost immediately.
Pretty.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I'm ever feeling full, I drink club soda, and then I think, all right, well, I can belch a little bit here. I'll feel better.
Well, maybe you want to do a little enzymes, some digestive enzymes like the gluticase that I have, so that's always good. And then lemon water, give it a try.
Also, dispel a myth or support the myth that even as a kid, my mom used to say that if you sleep on your left side, you'll digest your food better than if you sleep on your right side. Is she just making that up, or is there something anatomically?
Yeah, I
right
never
about
heard that, and I haven't thought that up, but I would think that would make sense, because the way that the esophagus and then the stomach comes down, it does wind over more to that side on the left, so that it would help, keep things in, I would think.
Okay.
Yeah, I would think so. It's just the way that the curvature of the way it goes around, yes.
Thank you for that. Last question is from a 67-year-old female. She's wondering about treatment options for osteoporosis, and can it be reversed with vitamin D, or might her current medications even be contributing to the bone loss?
Yeah. Well, medications definitely can contribute, especially those PPIs that we just talked about, the antacids. So that causes osteopenia, osteoporosis if you take that for long term. That's why I'm not a big, fan of those for long term. Yeah, medications definitely, anticonvulsants, other things. Can't think about other, but yes, medications can contribute to it. And vitamin D alone cannot reverse, because you need calcium, you need to have the right diet, you need vitamin K. So you want to make sure that you're having a good nutrition all around. But osteopenia, osteoporosis is actually really caused by inflammation, right? So if you don't eat well, not following the 4 pillars, if you don't exercise, you don't have enough muscle. So muscle loss is why we start to see osteopenia and osteoporosis as we get older, because women start out with less muscle mass, then you lose your muscle mass. So then then your nutrition goes down, and then you're not building your bones. So it's a diet and an exercise thing. So you want to make sure you're eating, clean, whole foods, making sure you have enough calcium, getting vitamin D, vitamin K, and exercise. Keep building up those muscles. So Sculpt is a good tool for that.
Really? Okay. So Sculpt will help.
Oh, 100%.
We'll send her your direction here. And I think I'm going to dovetail a question off of this. Once the bones get porous, you can come back from porous bones?
Well, I think that the body can, my guess is yes, right? Because if you're having the right diet and nutrition and giving it what it needs,
feeding
the bones, then you should be able to. So, bisphosphonate, which is a medication that they use to help you build your bones up. Unfortunately, it makes them brittle, so they break. So it's kind of a weird drug. So I don't think that those medications, I don't think also are that great, because especially that particular type actually makes them more brittle. So you just want to have good nutrition. I think that you don't, if you've lost ground, yes, it's going to take time to repair and get back. My whole thing is let's not get there to begin with. But if you're already there, yeah, you can repair slowly, because that's what the body wants to do. It does want to be healthy, and it does repair. I mean, I've seen it's amazing how the body functions. I mean, I see all these drug addicts and people abuse their body, and the body just keeps on working.
Resilience.
It's so amazing. So you just, it's very resilient.
And I will direct this 67-year-old female to the M Skull and to your office. How do the rest of our listeners find you if they're in need of your services?
So my number is 949-734-0580. I don't answer it immediately, but you can leave a message. I'll get back to you. You can text on that phone, or you can go to my website, ANITAWANGMD.com, and you can message me, or you can book a complimentary discovery call. So you can book that phone call at your convenience, and then we can chat and discuss your issues.
I can't thank you enough for coming in, and I brought my numbers from my latest lab so that you can look over and give me some advice and tell me to cut this out. And I got to tell you, following the 4 pillars is magic. That's magic advice right there. Dr. Anita Wang, thank you so very much. We'll look forward to talking to you next week.
Thank you.